and intriguing as the super drink Ningxia Red. From the time that Gary learned about the wolfberry in China to when he began working and reworking the formula that developed into the drink that we have today, every bottle of Ningxia Red carries with it years of adventure. There is too much to talk about to fit it all into one podcast episode. So welcome to Ningxia Wolfberry Month, where over the next 2 episodes, we will be discussing the history, use, and story behind Gary's favorite drink. Hello and welcome to Young Living's podcast, The Wild Drop. My name is Jacob Young, your host. Young Living is the world leader in producing and distributing premium essential oils, and this podcast will provide you with drops of information about Young Living, including stories, history, product information, lots of little fun facts, and today we have so much more in store.
Are you sure this is the way to the Chamber of Longevity?
Stay close. It could get dangerous. Yeah, that's what I thought. Inferior products can never go the distance.
Should we go on?
Of course, Rob. We have nothing to fear at the ORAC scale.
What does all this mean?
After 15 years searching the world, we found the right place.
Elixir of life.
Wait! Something doesn't smell right. It may be booby-trapped, since the ancient truths have been corrupt and forgotten.
All right, so the story of Ningxia isn't quite that thrilling or exciting, I must admit. And don't get me wrong, it is super cool, the Indiana Jones thing, but that has no actual representation of the story or the adventure of how Ningxia came to be. I just want to point that out. That's a super fun clip from the 2002 convention, and my dad always had these crazy ideas for convention openers, and that just had to be one of them. One of my absolute favorites, and I know a lot of people claim that as their favorite convention as well. However, we do have someone here today that you might recognize and remember from previous episodes who's going to walk us through the actual history of how Ningxia came to be. John, welcome back to the podcast. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Anytime.
Yeah. So I should point out, first of all, just quick disclaimer, I didn't work for Young Living during most of the time we're going to be talking about today. But I do work with a couple of people, and I'm kind of over the history department. So I have a lot of fun artifacts and some files from the archives. And love to share about it.
For sure. You went with my dad to a lot of the places that, have the Ningxia berry. And so I kind of want you to first talk about where this berry actually comes from and the history behind the berry, and then the history of the berry coming into Young Living, if you can.
Interesting enough, though, I actually never did travel to China with your dad.
Really?
No. I think the last time that your dad went to the Ningxia province, which is where the wolfberry comes from, I think that was in 2007 or 2008. And I didn't start traveling with your dad until early 2009.
Okay.
So his last trip there, was probably 2008. And but I've been there many times with a lot of different groups of people, some different executive team members, but never with your dad, unfortunately.
Huh.
Yeah, but he made many trips prior to that time.
Yes.
So the Ningxia. So maybe we'll just start off by what does the name mean? So Ningxia is a province in China, similar to like some of the other provinces. I mean, there's like Guangzhou is a province, right? Like, so it's just like a state. And so like Utah would be the equivalent of a province. And there's a lot of wolfberries that grow in Ningxia. And it's like really, really well known for that. The region is really, really well known for the wolfberries or goji berries. Actually, a lot of the industry calls them goji berries. Why we chose to use the word wolfberry, I'm not entirely sure, but I think that was an interesting choice. It definitely is an accurate translation, accurate representation. But the Chinese for goji berry or wolfberry is gochi. So goji is just kind of like a transliteration.
Okay.
So is that, I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
did I get
no,
off subject? What else do you want me to talk
No,
about?
that's fantastic. I had no idea that's why it was called the goji berry. I thought it had something to do with the botanical name, but it just being kind of a direct translation over, a very rough translation over, makes perfect sense.
Yeah, the botanical name is Lycium barbarum. I might be mispronouncing that, but it's part of the... So it's actually not too distantly related from kind of a tomato, or it's in the nightshade family. So there's a lot of eggplant. There's a lot of food products that we get from the whatever the family name is above that one. So it's just
Okay.
Lycium barbarum.
I like that. That's awesome. So my dad always has such a fascinating curiosity when it comes to things like this. And when my dad is curious about something, he does years of research, many trips, many travels. So how did he come to find out about the wolfberry?
Yeah, so your mom could probably tell you this, but I didn't know exactly, but I think I have a document here that helps us to understand. So this is the Young Living Essential Edge, which is a publication I think we still produce.
Yep.
It used to be a monthly publication. I think it's now quarterly. But this is from May 1998. And this is your dad is talking about a Professor Chow that came to the office in Riverton, and they were having so this Professor Chow was a visiting professor from Beijing. and wanted to learn about different natural herbs and things of that nature. And so was meeting with your dad, and they were talking about essential oils. And then Professor Chow told your dad about this wolfberry, this goji berry. And I think that was the spark. And it was 5 years prior to 1998, according to this article, that they had that meeting. So probably in 1993, 1994
Oh, wow.
was when your dad first learned about wolfberry or goji berry. And it was because by 1998, we actually already had products that had goji berries in them.
Okay.
And in fact, I have a fun artifact here that represents potentially the very, very first wolfberry product that Young Living ever launched, and it was called goji berry tea.
I didn't even know we had a tea.
So,
Well, goji berry tea at least.
yeah, it says goji berry tea made with real wolfberries, or made with Chinese wolfberries. And so I think that one of the reasons that this was, should I set this here? I don't know where to put this. I think one of the reasons that this was the first product that we launched was it's just a traditional, this is just what was available early on. And then very quickly your dad was like, okay, let's see what other products we can get this into. Whereas dried wolfberries were just immediately available. That's kind of just the way they've been used historically or stored historically. So very quickly the products, like wolfberry powder was included in Power Meal, Sulfurzyme, Master Children's Chewable Vitamins, and there was also a product for a short time called Wolfberry Power Bar, but I think that very quickly became renamed for good reason to be called Wolfberry Crisp Bar.
I love the Wolfberry Crisp Bar.
And I actually have one of the original packaging. Again, this is just an item from our archives here. So we've got we have the museum downstairs. We have tons of items in the archives. And so this is the foil wrapper. So that's just,
that's super cool.
I just thought I would bring that and show it. So Wolfberry Crisp Bar was a very, very early on product, which is just fun to talk about.
Yeah.
And then pretty quickly, this is an essential news. So this is from 2001, and it's talking about runaway bestseller products. So Berry Young Juice was launched at the 2001 convention, which is the same juice that we saw in that video that you showed at the beginning of the podcast.
Gotcha. Oh, so 2000, not the 2002.
No. So so Berry Young Juice was launched, and here we actually have two original bottles and labels that we know of in existence, and this is one of them. So this is the identical bottle to what was in the Indiana Young video, and so that's kind of how things got started with wolfberries.
That is fantastic. Also, if there is anybody who's been with Young Living that long that still has one of these bottles, please let us know. I'd love to know who may still have one of these bottles. We're not going to take it from you. I just really want to know if that's the case.
So it wasn't very long. I have a few things down here. It wasn't very much longer later until they changed the label. So we actually have quite a few of these with this slightly.
I have seen that one.
Slightly newer label.
This red one.
Yeah. So these are really fun artifacts that not very many of them in this one in existence as far as we know.
Wow.
So and then we even have a small sachet packet. This is only 1 ounce. So the sachets that we have now are all 2 ounces. So this is like really, really small, but still very fun to see.
So we have the story behind it and the history and where it comes from and whatnot. I guess the big question that people want to know is why wolfberry?
Well, so your dad was he was looking for like stuff that would just help people live healthy lives. He was doing some research into these blue zones, and he traveled to different areas around the world. So the Hunza Valley in Pakistan.
What's a blue zone? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh yeah, blue zones are where there's just a disproportionate number of centenarians, so people that live to
100 plus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
And Hunza Valley in Pakistan, Tarahumara. He was studying the Tarahumara people in the Copper Canyon area of Mexico. Mm-hmm. And then also from this Dr. Chow, then he learned that there were quite a few centenarians also in the Ningxia province of China. One of the interesting things about these three areas that he traveled to, he might have traveled to more, but those are the three that I know about, is each one of them had a fairly distinct product come out of it.
Yeah.
So Hunza Valley, that's where Gary first started to learn about einkorn, or at least researching the ancient grains, that there are other grains besides these modern hybridized wheats, because he saw that the people there were growing these grains that looked different than anything he had ever seen before.
Very different.
And so einkorn kind of came from that. And even though there's not a product that came from Gary traveling to the Copper Canyon area of Mexico to research the Tarahumara people, that is where the foundation was born.
Yeah, product of going there.
Yeah, so because he traveled there and he saw that the people were just really in need of a school. They went to this one village, and he was so moved by everything he saw. He said, I'm going to come back and build you a school. And they returned at least once and maybe 2 times to take the supplies in and build a school. And I think Gary even helped them dig a well or something, or
I remember.
Brought in some pipes so that they could get water, so people didn't have to walk so far.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
don't remember the exact story, but yeah. So it's just cool that something really did come from all of this work that your dad did.
It's absolutely fantastic. I just love that there's always a connection with every product that we have, whether it's a byproduct, that's the right term, a byproduct, or an actual product that comes from all these journeys and trips or whatnot that he's been on. So
yeah,
it's fantastic knowing that. So we talked about the definition of the, wolfberry and the goji berry and how that got translated and whatnot. What does Ningxia mean?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, Ningxia is the province. But if you were to just break it apart, it's 2 characters. There's 2 syllables. And Ning means tranquil, and Xia means summer. So tranquil summer.
Tranquil summer. Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, and in fact, so I've been there a couple of times in different seasons, and I would compare the local climate to something really similar to Utah. So where there's nice, warm summers, they're not super hot, but the winters are quite cold.
Oh, okay.
And they do have some snow. I would say we get some more snow here, but it's cold. It's quite cold there. So I love how different people, when they learn about this product, how they pronounce it differently. Because
I've heard it called many different things.
Because sometimes Ningxia becomes ninja.
Yeah.
Which is actually a Japanese word.
Yeah.
But it's funny anyway. And there was a video that was made. We don't know exactly the origin of this video, but it touches on just how close the pronunciation can be, and just maybe how ironic that the difference in the meaning. And so maybe we can cue up that video.
Oh, let's take a look.
you seek the taste of Ningxia Red. But first, you must learn of its secret ingredient, the Ningxia Wolfberry.
Enough!
Ningxia Red is for everyone's well-being. You! It's Ningxia Red, not Ninja Red. He's been following me for weeks. Do not steal Ningxia Red. Order a bottle from a distributor. You have learned well. Go, share your knowledge of Ningxia Red with others.
That video is pretty priceless. We honestly have no idea like when it was made or like how it came to be, but we can obviously tell it's probably early 2000s because of the resolution or something.
Well, we actually do know when it was made because it had to do with the transition from the Berry Young juice to Ningxia Red, right? Because he's drinking one,
right,
and then he's drinking the other one. So so it had to have been 2005-ish.
2005, wow.
But yeah, exactly the origin. We don't know who made it or anything like that. So
such a great video. I love that.
Yeah.
So now you are able to correctly correct your friends on how to actually say it properly.
Yeah.
Ningxia. Tranquil summer. And there you go. You got your fun fact of the day. Means tranquil summer.
Yeah. Here's a few other, since we're talking about the province, here's a few other interesting artifacts from the library. So these books came from your house and your mom brought them in. Your dad picked these up when he was there. There's some interesting tombs, like these pyramid tombs from a previous dynasty that are in the area. These are like right outside the city of where we've traveled to, Yinchuan. And here is the actual city where our partner, our supplier, that they're based out of Yinchuan, which means Silver River.
I like the names.
Yeah, and then another book that your dad picked up just about Beijing, China. So anyway, it's just fun to see all of the things that touch the artifacts that from your dad's trips and how things came to be.
He always bought so many books on the areas that he'd go and travel in hopes to see if there was something maybe that the people there didn't talk about or share, or if there was something there that most people didn't know about. He was quite the researcher and was always just, we have a plethora of books at our house. You've seen how many books my dad has, so it's cool to see that.
Yeah, definitely. So I probably didn't, did I show those well to the camera? So this is the Xixia. I actually don't know that character, sorry. Yeah, and here's, so the city, the capital of Ningxia is Yinchuan, means Silver River.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then this is just, a book about Beijing. But your dad bought it when he was in China. So
okay, cool.
That's why I wanted to bring it in and show it. So
after watching that video, maybe a question that some people have is Berry Young juice became Ningxia Red, or it was Ningxia Red? What exactly happened there?
Yeah, so it wasn't just a rebranding. And I actually have, of course I have a bottle here. So this is one of the last artifacts I'll be showing. So this is the 2005 bottle. So this is when this is Ningxia Red,
completely sealed too.
Yeah, still sealed.
Love that.
And so it was a dramatic reformulation. So one of the biggest differences between Ningxia Red and berry young juice is Ningxia Red had the whole berry. Whereas, so they would take the berry, and it's actually kind of like, it's not that dissimilar from a cherry tomato, maybe just a little bit longer. But even if you were to open it up, there's like little tiny seeds inside of it. So just think of wolfberries that kind of grow on a vine, like a little shrub.
Like a grapevine kind of.
Yeah, sort of. It's more like a small tree. And, but yeah, so the berry young juice only had the juice of the berry.
Gotcha.
And so it didn't contain any of the fiber or some of the solids. So this has like the whole berry minus the skin and the seeds.
Obviously, yeah.
So all that pulp and a lot of the other solids and fiber are in there, and so it's just a higher nutrition profile. And of course, your dad really believed in like the wholeness of everything, right? Like he never tried to just separate like, oh, let's just separate this one tiny thing and like use a lot of that. He was like, no, everything needs to work together. There's this synergistic energy or value in having the whole component. So that was one of the reasons that Ningxia Red became Ningxia Red.
I love it.
And was no longer berry young juice.
I think it's really cool to see that my dad just understood how important it is to kind of go back and look at the research or the original formulation and see how we can improve upon that. I mean, obviously, we probably have some slight improvements from this Ningxia Red to our current Ningxia Red as well. And just seeing the innovation behind all of this and just how it's updated and been improved is fascinating. I love it.
I think that some of it had to do with just simply what was available in the market at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like all he could get early on was just the juice and maybe and it took a little while to develop the technology or get the capital in place in order to have a different process from the supplier. I don't know all the story behind that, but yeah, your dad was always changing things. Like that was just like one of his trademarks. He was like, okay, we're going to get this, and then we're going to make it better and make it better and make it better.
Always upgrading. I loved it.
So, and then, there's actually, I think we're going to talk about that in the next episode, but there's more changes to come. So
more changes to come. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your stories and the history and everything about Ningxia. You know, it's such a fantastic product, one of our most favorite products, within our Young Living community. So thank you again.
Yeah, it was actually kind of hard to figure out what to talk about because there's just so much. And so I was like, okay, what are the most poignant things? So there's a lot more we could share, but I understand the time's limited.
Yeah. Well, thank you once again for coming on and being part of episode 1 of this special 2 episode of Ningxia Red. And thank you for tuning into this special episode of The Wild Drop. Episode 1 has been the story of the berry through the bottle. Tune in next week for a further conversation of some of the traditional uses for wolfberry and how Gary's thirst for knowledge kept him learning throughout his life. Remember, you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or online at www.youngliving.com. Don't forget to oil up Young Living family. And before we go, we have one more video from the history of Ningxia Red to share. This is Jacob Young, dropping out. Take care.